What's going on, everybody? Lil Chris here, and I finally feel fully recovered from whatever I was battling with for the past 2 weeks. Now, today, I have another APA 8-ball match of mine that I've clipped out from my last live stream, and in this matchup here, I'm playing up against another skill level 6, so this is going to be a race to 5-4. My 5 to their 4. So sit back and enjoy the match, and I'll see you when it's over. Now, in this one, though, my opponent won the coin flip. So they are going to be breaking first. So let's see how they do. Okay, pretty good smashing break. Gets a wonderful spread, but doesn't drop a ball. And this couldn't be. I couldn't ask for a better layout if I'm coming to a dry table with a spread that looks like this. All right, let's see what I decide to do here. Okay, an open table. It looks like I'm playing a mixed combination, so I'm wanting to play solids. You can see me combo a stripe into a solid because you are allowed to do that so long as it's an open table, but now I am solids. So now really all I have to do is pay attention to this area here, which it looks like I'm going to do. It looks like I'm playing the one ball. I can't tell what type of spin I have on the cue ball. That might be bottom right. That is bottom right. So that way I can get position on the 4. And then when I shoot the 4, I'm now done with this half of the table, and I only have to focus on this half of the table. But why am I not shooting the 4? I must not like the cut that I have on the 4. So I do shoot the 7 now, it looks like. That was with bottom right also. Do I get straighter on the 4? So now do I come over here and shoot the 4? Or, no, am I going to use the 4 as the last ball to get position on the 8? Maybe that's what I'm doing. Okay, a little bit of a drag shot there as I shot that ball there. That must be what I'm doing. The 4 ball is going to be the last ball that I use to get on the 8. Let's see. This looks like maybe a little bit of a center right spin hit. Got position on the 3. You're going to see the cue ball most likely hit the side rail and come out towards the middle of the table for position on the 4. Probably just a little bit of a center right hit, kind of like that. Some sort of a stop shot on the 4 ball, and with my opponent's dry break and wide open table, I'm able to basically take the rack away from him. Ron, you're asking in APA, do you have to hit your ball first? Once a set is claimed, yes. So after the break, my opponent broke dry. And so therefore I come to an open table. You can see I pretty much ran the table off of my opponent's dry break. So I'm up 1-0. After my opponent broke dry, the table is open. So I'm allowed to shoot at practically anything I want first except for the 8-ball. And in APA, since we don't call our shots, which is one of the biggest things that people despise about the APA because they say there's just too much luck in the APA. And even in BCA, it doesn't matter. When you have an open table, you are allowed to play a solid into a stripe or a stripe into a solid. The only difference between APA and BCA, especially if you're going to play some sort of mixed combination, is you have to call the ball at which the pocket you're trying to make. So when you have an open table, you can play a solid into a stripe into a solid, and even the 8-ball can be somewhere in the middle of that combination. It just cannot be the first ball that you hit. So I could have comboed a stripe into the 8-ball and have the 8-ball combo into a solid or into another stripe or whatever. It does not matter. So anytime that you have an open table, you can play some sort of a mixed combination in order to claim a set. Once a set is claimed, then you have to make sure that you always hit that set first, because otherwise that's considered a foul. So there's that classic head-on break again, where you can see that the cue ball strikes the rack slightly on the left side. The weight of the rack pushes the cue ball back, and I try to have my little bit of topspin, try to hold the cue ball near the middle of the table, but the cue ball does drift back over past beyond the head string. I did make a stripe on the break, so I am going to be stripes on this one here. And it looks like all I did was just roll that ball in with a little bit of topspin. I have easy position on either the 15 ball or the 13 ball. And look at this table. Like, this table looks really, really good. Don't really see any issue here. I just have to make sure that I play a good pattern with the good control on the cue ball. So I'm going to play the 15 ball into the bottom left corner pocket. What kind of spin is that? That probably was just a rolling cue ball, so no side spin at all. Yeah, so you can see me, I fling my cue like this. That means I must have been trying to get position on this ball here, and I just didn't get it. So now I play the 9 ball, probably with a little bit of bottom spin, and try to get position on that ball again. And that means this ball here is the last ball that I'm going to play position on. More than likely to try to play the 8 ball into the side pocket, but we'll see. Because I have to imagine I'm playing this ball here into the corner pocket, probably with a touch of top and a little bit of right spin, and the cue ball will just either come down here and back out for position on this ball here, just like that. And it looks like I'm on the bottom side of the shot line on this ball here, so what do I do? Yeah, come over to the side rail and back out. That was done with a little bit of top right also, but probably more top than right. And I can see here, this is with bottom spin. I must have some left spin. Where am I going to play the 8 ball? That's a drag shot right there. You can see how the cue ball hesitates once it gets on the way over there, and the 8 ball will be going here into the side pocket, more than likely with just a little bit of draw. And then from the first rack, you get a dry break, and I run the rack from there, and then I break and run the second rack, and we haven't even done a single inning yet. Russian Crush Gaming, how's it going, man? Thanks for being here. Waylon, you forget about using left spin and right spin. There was actually a point in time in my pool career where I didn't use any side spin at all. Like, I stopped using it. I stayed along the vertical axis of the cue ball, applied top spin when I needed to apply top spin, and applied bottom spin when I needed to apply bottom spin, and relied more on shot making abilities in order to be able to make the ball. I think I at least did that for almost like an entire year before I finally sat down and tried to start learning how to use side spin better. But that was a long time ago. That was a beautiful break. I liked how I think the balls that were in the second row tracked towards the side pockets. Only one of them fell. It looks like I made both a solid and a stripe, but I didn't control the cue ball. Like, you saw the cue ball come straight back, and it didn't fight its way forward, so I don't think I had enough top spin on the cue ball there. Now, big issue that we have right here, if I were to decide on stripes. And so you see me doing my normal routine of walking around the table, trying to identify if I'm going to choose solids, where am I going to play all the balls? If I'm going to choose stripes, where am I going to play all the balls? Let alone if I'm going to choose stripes, what am I going to do with the 9 and I think this is the 15 ball right here. 79 Poison Breaker, you're wanting to know, is it open after the break? No. The only way it's open after the break is if you drop both a solid and a stripe. And it doesn't matter if you drop more than the other. If you drop one of each, it's an open table. If you drop only a single set, one or more stripes, one or more solids, you are that set at which you dropped on the break. So I dropped both a solid and a stripe on the break, so therefore I still had an open table. So you can see here, I went ahead and claimed stripes. So I'm pretty sure I don't like what I just did there, because I don't have any type of position on either of these stripes. So I'm gonna have to play this stripe here. It's more than likely gonna be with some sort of bottom right spin. And so the 9 ball goes here into the corner pocket. So I'm gonna play the 12 ball into the corner pocket, try to get the cue ball to come off the side rail and back over here for position on the 9. So a pretty precise location that I try to end up in. See, I fired that ball in, but I end up overshooting the ball. So now the only thing I have is to cut this ball here into the corner pocket, and I can try to get the cue ball to go 2 rails like this, short rail, long rail, and come out for the 9 ball. That's going to be with some amount of top right spin. And 79 Poison Breaker, you are correct. In BCA, the table is always open after the break. Okay, cue ball gets away from me a little bit. I still have a shot at the 9 ball, but then what in the world do I do with the 15 ball? Like, my run out is getting worse and worse. But what I end up trying to do here is the same exact thing. The only difference is I can't leave the cue ball right here, right? Because then it's blocked by the 8 ball. So I try to play the 9 ball and see where I lay my cue down. I'm expecting the cue ball to almost do the same exact route. But when it comes here, let me stop when I get down, I'll stop the video right here. I'm trying to do the same exact thing that I just did on the last shot. I want to be able to play the 9 ball into the corner pocket here and play this same exact route, but I have to make sure that when I hit this rail, I come back out either this way or this way, either way, and land somewhere right around here for position on the 15 to go here. So that way I can almost do the same thing and play the 8 ball in the same pocket. That's at least what I'm trying to do on this shot here. And see, I undercut the ball, but look at my cue ball. Yeah, you see me like kind of like do this motion here. It's because I got the position, but I missed the shot. And finally, we're on our first inning. Let's see here. Robert Dowling, you want to know what's my APA rank and what's the race? I am a skill level 7 in 8 ball, and I'm a skill level 9 in 9 ball. My opponent in this matchup here is a skill level 6. So this is a race to 5-4, and I'm already up 2-0. So let's see here. It looks like he might be trying to play the 6 ball into the corner pocket. Ends up undercutting the ball, hits it a little on the hard side, and allows the cue ball to come back up to where I can at least see my ball. So let's see here. Am I going to be trying to back cut this ball into the corner pocket? No, I have a 13 ball. Never mind. So I shoot the 13 ball. This is more than likely with bottom left spin, so I can get the cue ball to land somewhere over here so I can shoot the 15 next. Just wasn't expecting to run into the 1 ball. That sucked. Let's see here. What am I going to do with that 15 ball? Do I try to cut it in the corner? Or maybe try to bank it in between the 8 and the 3? Ah, that measurement right there, that means I'm going to try to bank it. So I must be trying to bank it here into the top right corner pocket. I'm probably having a little bit of top left spin on the cue ball so I can play the cue ball 2 rails to try to get position on the 8 if I'm successful at making the 15 ball. Pretty much like that, but I didn't bank it enough. Okay, so my opponent gets another shot at the table. Let's see what he decides to do. Okay, looks like he might be going for the 6 ball again, I think. Yep, but he overcuts this one. And I cannot tell if I can cut that ball into the side pocket. Ooh, I must be able to. If I'm doing that, I'm gonna be trying to play this into the top middle pocket. I have to have left spin on this cue ball in order to get position on the 8. Yeah, you can see how much left spin I have on that cue ball. All right, successful there. Probably at least wanted the cue ball to end up right over here, but that was a precise hit, and I'm calling the pocket over here. Like I said before, in APA, typically you're supposed to mark the pocket with some sort of a personal object, but me and my opponent agreed that we can just call the pocket which we're going for. So uh, I'm going to be trying to cut this into the top left corner pocket, using some topspin to make sure that the cue ball hits the short rail and avoids scratching. Just like that. Okay, here we are with rack 4. Oops, I don't have that much topspin when I break. Like, you see that hop that I get off of the break there? Like, it's a very common thing, especially when you see 10 ball breaks. And like right there, like let me try to stop it at the appropriate time. Like I want my cue ball to stop right about there. So I must not be putting enough topspin on the cue ball, as the cue ball just keeps rolling its way back after it hits the rack. When I get that little pop on the break, that's pretty much what I'm looking for. It tells me I hit the rack square. And when the cue ball pops into the air like that, that also does mean that the cue ball is already off of the air, off of the table, like by a smidge. And when it contacts that head ball, that's basically what lifts it off the table. All right, so what are we doing here? Got top spin. Am I playing the 9 ball? I am playing the 9 in the side. How many solids? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I only made stripes on the break. You can actually see the ball return right here. Ah, I'm really close to this. I must be trying to do this to avoid double hitting the ball, and I want to make sure that I run into this 4 ball. And I missed the 4 altogether, and I end up scratching. So that was just done with a. Basically, I can't indicate a masse shot with the cue ball diagram, but I didn't run into the 4 ball like I wanted to. Hello, goodbye. Okay, so my opponent has cue ball in hand, and with solids, you can see he's going to play the 3 ball into the bottom middle. Allows the cue ball to drift forward. Looks like he has position on the 1 ball. So now, again, just like how I did in the last match, I'm curious, what is my opponent going to do with their 6 ball that's tied up next to my 10? So we might go back after this and look at it, because like right now, like how do you break out the 6, or do you bank the 6 into the top right corner pocket when if you manage to run the rest of these solids? All right, 7 ball down. Looks like he's got shape for the 5 in the side. Or better yet, like how do you get positioned back here so that way you can play the 6 all the way into this corner pocket? Okay, 5 ball down. Decent position on the 4 ball. Probably wanted the cue ball to come a little bit further off the side rail. Probably just tries to roll this in to get position on the 2. And he ends up overcutting it. So again, what do you do with this 6 ball here, right? So let's actually stop and go back and look. Remember, he has ball in hand, right? And so he elects to put the cue ball down here in order to play the 3 ball. Is this something y'all would do, or how would y'all try to deal with the 6? Now, because the 1 and the 7 ball are here, I don't think the cue ball can be placed here in order to play the 6 ball down into the corner pocket. I could be wrong. Just not entirely sure. But I would have to say, at the very least, I would probably try to place the cue ball at an angle to where I can break this out. So that way, hopefully, if I were to try to win the game from here, I would be able to do so. I end up putting the cue ball somewhere over here like this. Play the 3 ball into the side pocket this way and allow the cue ball to come over here and break this out. If I don't get a shot at the 6 ball, I at least hopefully will have a shot at the 2 ball and the 4 ball as a backup shot. But at least hopefully the 6 ball will be broken away from the 10 ball. That's at least probably what I would suggest to do differently with ball in hand. Because even if he were successful at making the 4 and the 2, what would he have possibly done with the 6 ball? That would be my only concern. Yeah, Alex Johnson, we pretty much agree on the same thing on how to play this shot here with ball in hand. So let's catch back up. And so here I am back at the table. All right, so 11 ball into the corner pocket. I must be trying to get position on the 9. I don't think it's ideal that I'll try to break out the 10 just yet. Yeah, so just a twist of top left spin there, get position on the 9. Does that mean I'm saving my break ball for last? Like typically I try to break out my clutters as soon as possible. But I think in this case here I might end up leaving it last. Right? If I play that 9 ball, that means I'm playing that 10 ball last. What am I doing here? Am I just gonna roll this in and get position for the 15 to play for the breakout? No, I have right spin on that ball. What am I doing? What in the world was I doing? Let's see here. Oh, does the 10 go down here past the 4? I must have goofed up something. I don't know why my cue ball is over here. That doesn't make any sense. Let's see here. Does that mean I'm banking the 15 ball and I'm going to tie the cue ball right behind the 8? Looks like I have some bottom spin on this ball. Yeah, I banked the cue ball down table, and it looks like I lost control of the cue ball. So I honestly don't know what I was trying to get at when I got the cue ball to be somewhere over here. That doesn't make sense to me. So now my opponent still has to worry about this the 6. I'm guessing my 10 goes somewhere, so I can play position for my 10. But if my 10 goes, then I would have to think that the 6 goes also, so long as we're back here somewhere. Okay, unfortunate miss on the 4. Leaves me a shot on the 15. So what is this? Is this going to be slightly below center with some left spin as I try to get back behind the 10 again? Looks like I got about that much spin. Yep. And do I not hit it hard enough? I didn't. Trying to get like probably somewhere right over here to play the 10, maybe into this corner pocket, but I didn't hit it hard enough. And that's the finesse side of me playing. So, looks like I have to kick one rail. Here I'm just measuring the midpoint between the cue ball and the object ball to kind of give me a rough idea that if I were to kick at that spot, I can see the reflective, this angle in is that angle out, and does the that angle out line run into the ball? Because that at least gives me a baseline of where to work from. Ooh. What do y'all think, folks? Was that a good hit? Because obviously I think it was. Let's see, does my opponent take ball in hand? Yeah, he doesn't take ball in hand. So let's go back and look at it. Was this a good hit? I will play this frame by frame. Here we go. Ooh. And right after this frame, everything's going to be moving. Like, do we think this is a good hit, or did I hit the 6 ball first? Even the cue ball pops into the air. Like right there. What do we think? Should this be a foul? Because I would have to do post-production on this shot here just to slightly zoom in and still try to be able to see whether or not if it was a good hit or not. What do we think? Good hit or bad hit? Because apparently at the time I thought it was a good hit. And then of course the rule is if a third person's not watching it, whatever the shooter says goes. Oh, so that's another inning. So it looks like my opponent's got some top spin on this ball. Looks like he wants to just follow forward to get position on the 6 to go into the opposite corner, but it doesn't look like he gets the follow through that he wants. Okay, everybody seems to think it wasn't a foul. I mean, I didn't think it was a foul, obviously. There have been previous videos where I admit that after looking at it again, in retrospect, I was like, yeah, I do believe it was a foul, but at the time I didn't think it was a foul. And Andy Morris, Art, you're more than right that it's just difficult to tell considering how far away. Oh, holy cow! That was almost a great shot. Such an unfortunate scratch, though. But with the camera being so far away and not up close, it's obviously difficult to tell. So we can only work with what we've got here. Ooh, that's a good point, World of Conquer, because the cue ball went off to the left from the approach angle. So it had to have hit the 10 ball first. That's actually a good point. And actually, we're gonna go back and look at it one more time just to see that. So that gives me now on the hill. Let's go back to that shot one more time and take a look. Because what World of Conquer is saying is that since the cue ball goes this way, that's what makes it a good hit. Versus if the 6 ball was hit first, then obviously the 6 ball would probably track down this way as it hits the 10. And the 10 would end up hitting the 8. Right? So after I hit the both of them, obviously, the cue ball drives itself to the rail. If I would have hit the 6 on the opposite side, which would have been a clear, blatant foul, we would have seen that the 10 ball would have tracked its way over towards the 8 ball. But if I would have hit the 6 first and then run into the 10, then both the cue ball and the 10 ball would be heading towards the 8 ball. So that's actually a really good point as to being able to identify on whether or not if it was a foul or not. So let's prep up for the next rack. I'm on the hill, and like before, I try to go for an 8 ball break. Where am I at? There I am. So here we go. Again, lots of bottom, twist of right spin. And see how the cue ball comes back and hits the rack again? Almost scratched. And this time the 8 ball kind of behaved. It's on the right side of the table this time, as opposed to being on the left side of the table. But I think I broke dry, didn't I? So that's 6 innings. And Kyle Kerr and Whalen, those points are valid. I would only think that based on the other analysis that we've done, that would make it lean more towards that it was possibly a good hit. Okay, Ron, if you're going to take off for the night, I'd really do appreciate you being here. I'll be doing more live streams like this in the future because I still have plenty of APA matches to do. So I look forward to having you back. So it looks like my opponent plays the 2 ball into the side pocket, rolls forward for position on the 3. This is where I would probably put a little bit of bottom spin on the cue ball just to try to break out the 7 away from that stripe. It looks like he's got top spin. Is it going to hit the 7 anyway? Or he tries to break it out from behind, but he ends up missing the 3 ball. So it makes me feel like that's a classic case of trying to worry about what happens after the shot rather than really focusing on just making the shot. All right, so what do we got here? I got a lot of topspin on the cue ball. What in the world am I trying to do? Am I going to try to cut I think that's the 11 ball? Yep. No, that was, wait, is this the 11 ball? I think that's the 13. Yeah, so I think this is the 11. That must have been the 15 ball. Natural 2-rail position for the 9 ball here. 9 ball should be going into the corner pocket. You can see there I'm actually glancing to see if the 11 ball will actually pass by the 4 ball. And I don't remember if it does or if it doesn't. And judging by the cueing, which looks to be a little bit more on the center, or actually slightly below center, I must be trying to get position on the 11. That means it probably does go past the 4. Got some draw over here. What am I trying to do? Pull the cue ball over to the side rail and back out maybe for the 14 or the 12? Oh, that has some right spin on it as well. That wasn't just straight bottom. Okay, so now I got position on the 12. Am I going to try to break out my 13 ball? Got lots of bottom spin there. Oh, not really. A little bit of bottom left. Don't have to break out anything. Can play this next stripe into the side pocket and then get position on the 13 to go into the corner. The only thing I have to be concerned about now is transitioning to the 8 ball. So is that why I changed my mind? It is. What am I doing here? Yeah, now that I thought about it, leaving the 14 ball last is probably less than ideal to transition to the 8. I probably want to leave at least one of these 2 balls to be able to transition to the 8. So what in the world am I trying to do here? This is with a slight below center hit. Run into the 3 ball. Does that mean I'm going to use the 13 ball to get position on the 8? More than likely try to just roll this ball in. Roll the ball in. I stunned the ball in. And so that way I can play a draw shot on this here, so that way I can get position for the 8 to go into the side pocket. Expect the cue ball probably to be somewhere right around here, because this does look like a slight back cut shot. Yep, right around there. 8 ball into the side pocket. For the win. And so unless I'm mistaken, that was 5-0 in 6 innings. And that's going to do it for today's video. Now, I started the match off fairly quick when I was able to run the table out after my opponent broke dry on the first rack, and then follow that up with a break and run on the second rack. But then things slowed down a bit for both racks 3 and 4 as I accumulated a total of 5 innings, but then I was able to speed the pace back up a bit by winning the 5th rack in only 1 inning for a grand total of 6. Now, sooner or later, I'm hoping to see if I can eventually win a match in less than 5 innings, so that way I'm averaging less than 1 inning per rack. Because of all the APA 8-ball matches that I've published on my channel, the lowest amount of innings that I've had is 6. And that's even including the very first 8-ball match that I've ever posted, where I was able to break and run 3 consecutive racks in a row. So sooner or later, I'm gonna make it happen. So I hope everybody was able to enjoy and learn something from this match here, and if you did, please give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and then be sure to click the bell notification icon to be notified whenever I go live or publish a new video. Take care, everybody.